Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. I am Carol Bryant, and I'm the PR and Marketing Manager for BlogPaws. I am here with some fantastic guests today, and we're going to tell you all about how to get published or how to perish. So you could choose which one you would like. So let me go round robin style and have everybody introduce themselves, who they are, and tell me what the name of your session is at the BlogPaws Conference, which, if you're watching this right now, is in 36 days, but no pressure. I think it's 36 days. So let's start out with you, Amy.
Ah, uh, Hi, I'm Amy Shojai, and I'm part of the Cat Writers Association Writers Track on the Publish or Perish panel. And that's going to be with Lisa, who is here with us also, and Pam Johnson-Bennett, and Bob Mayer, who is a publisher. A lot of people also know Pam, who is very well known as a behaviorist and a published author and is on TV and all kinds of fun stuff. So the Publish or Perish session is basically going to talk about what your options are today, because there are so many of them, whether you go indie or you go traditional, how you go about that, what's a good topic. I mean, it's really the sky's the limit. We have a list of some of our favorite message points to talk about, but we're going to take a lot of questions from the audience also. And okay. I know Lisa comes from kind of a different world and has come to publishing in a different way, so she has a great viewpoint and unique way to explain to people her publishing path.
Okay, awesome. And that's Thursday. That would be Thursday, May 28th, yes. Your panel. Okay, terrific.
Right, and it's at 1 o'clock. It's about an hour long, 1 o'clock to about 2:30, about an hour and a half worth, right.
Great, and that's for anybody. You don't have to be just a cat person to come to your session.
Oh, heck no. This is not about cats. It's about publishing, and it's about publishing good books. With Cat Writers Association, we have a lot of people who call themselves bipedal because we share a common love of pets, whether that is cats, dogs, horses, mini pigs, hamsters, whatever it may be. We love pets, we love publishing, we love getting good information out to our audience so that they can better care for their pets. And that's kind of what Cat Writers' whole vision is.
Great.
But you don't even have to have a pet to come to this this panel. We're going to answer a lot of questions, whether you're doing children's books, whether you are going to turn your blog content into a book, whether you have a short story, whether you want your dogs or your cats to tell their memoirs, whatever you want to do, you will be able to learn something here.
Awesome, awesome. And so right from there, I'm going to volley over to Lisa. And Lisa, welcome to the Google Plus Hangout. Good morning, good afternoon.
How are you? Morning, morning here in LA.
Hello, you're in LA. Awesome. Tell me a little bit of your name, a little bit about yourself, and about the panel that Amy just spoke about.
My name is Lisa Erspamer, and I, by trade, I'm a television producer, actually, as she was mentioning, and I'm going to be on the same panel as she is, the Cat Writers Association. Really excited about it, and I'll be talking about my path to publishing, which is probably, I had it sort of easy because I had some connections in the publishing industry, but I never expected to be a published author, and now I'm on my third book, and I love the space, and especially when it comes to the pets, because we love animals over here.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a little animal come on right before you came on camera there. Grace, I think, was on camera. So we're looking forward to meeting you and learning from you. I know you have a whole wealth of information to share with our attendees. So nice to finally meet you. Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. All right, and now for who's probably our cutest guest, because he's got Gander with him, let's talk to Lon Hodge. Lon, introduce yourselves to folks and tell me what you're talking about at BlogPaws.
Hi, I'm Lon Hodge. I go by Veteran Traveler on the internet. This is Gander. So, my workshop is called "The Raccoons Ate My Peanut Butter," and it's about authenticity and authority in writing. Probably one of the I was trained classically as a poet in a Master of Fine Arts program at Vermont College. So one of the big things we talked about was authenticity and authority all the time in writing what we did in postmodern work. But I want to make it more fun than that. I think I think we tend to be a little bit too serious sometimes in what we write and how we write it, and we just want to have a lot of fun. Want to do a lot of storytelling. Talk to you about how to put together a good story. Talk about the things that I think have catapulted Gander into more prominence around the internet. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Do you know what date your actual session is at BlogPaws, Lon?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I couldn't get to it fast enough on the calendar here.
That's okay. We'll have folks. You could do blogpaws.com and look up the schedule. We'll have all of that information. Okay, great. So let me volley back to Lisa then. Your panel is part of the Cat Writers Association, and it's called Publish or Perish. So when I hear that, I get excited and then I get nervous. What does this mean, and who would benefit by coming to your panel?
Well, the title is I thought quite interesting, because sometimes when you're publishing, you feel like you're perishing. I mean, it's definitely not a business, and harder than I ever thought it would be. And so for the people like Amy who've written 1,000 books, I mean, I don't know how you've survived, how hard this really is, but it's really great being a published author. It's nothing that I would have expected, but it really does lend to your credibility, and it gives you opportunities for press, and which helps all your other platforms. And so I think anybody who wants to be a published author should absolutely try. And today there's 1,000 ways to make that happen, and which is why I'm finally a published author. I got lucky. And so I think that I really am the type that believes that whatever you want to happen, you can have happen. And so I think that people and I know a lot of people want to be published, and so I think between Amy and myself, we'll give them really solid tools on how to take the steps to getting there.
Oh, awesome. I know you have how many books under your belt now, Lisa? You've done...
My third book came out last week.
Oh, that's awesome. What's the title of that?
That one is A Letter to My Mom. So that is a non-fiction book, but it is a letter series, and it's a letter to my mom.
Awesome, and very good. You'll have those at the conference as well, so folks can meet you and that sort of thing. Great. So I'm going to ask Amy the same question. Redundancy, but publish or perish. A, what does it mean to you? And B, who would benefit from coming to your particular panel?
Okay, well, I love titles, first of all. So I came up with that title because I wanted to grab some attention here and have some people just kind of scratch their head and say, hey, what does that mean? I need to find this out. And I think in today's environment, if you are a writer, and all of us here that are watching are writers, whether you blog, whether you are a poet, whether you write lyrics, whether whatever it is that you do, you are a writer. Many bloggers on Facebook, you're all writers. So I think publishing, all of us are publishing all the time, whether that is in a smaller venue or in a much larger venue. And I think the way that my whole career has gone has been kind of a publish or perish story. I have a recent blog where I redid the cover on one of my early books, and this is Complete Kitten Care, and I call it The Book with 9 Lives, because this book was contracted for, it was written, it was canceled by the publisher, and then it was sold to another publisher, and then it was remaindered, and then it came back out, and now it's an audiobook, and now it has 9 lives. And I think today there are so many different ways that you can leverage the information that you already have in your hands. People are scared. They look at that blank page and they think a whole book is 200 pages or 250 pages. Well, you don't look at it that way. You look at it as this 300 words or this 3,000 words is one chapter, and it's one pause step after another, and you put it together that way. So many of the bloggers who are going to be in attendance already have a book. They've written probably 3 or 4 books worth. It's a matter of organizing it and figuring out the platform and how are you going to present that. So I think there are a lot of people out there, and as Lisa said, having a book sets you apart. There are a lot of bloggers out there. How many bloggers actually have a book? And then when they have a book, they can do a speaking engagement and sell the book at the back of the room, and it opens doors for you as an expert. It just bumps your career up that extra level. And really, as Lisa said, you've already got everything there, people, there's so many different pathways to do it, and I'm very fortunate. My publisher, Bob Mayer, Cool Gus Publishing, and people need to check out coolgus.com, because the logo is his Labrador Retriever wearing sunglasses.
And he's on your
So I'd
panel,
like
right?
to-
And Bob's
Yes.
on your panel, right? Bob is a part of
Bob's on the panel, right, and he's local. So he's coming in just for Thursday, and then he's flying out, I think, the next day to go to New York to Book Expo America, which is, a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
He's got, like 30 plus books that were bestsellers in New York, and got the rights back and reinvented himself. And he coined the term hybrid author.
Oh,
A lot
that's
of
him. Very
people hear
cool.
about it.
Very cool. So
He's the one
anybody,
that came up with that.
so anyone
So
at any
I
level
think
can
it's going
come.
to be a panel everybody can benefit from, even if you aren't ready just yet. And I'll shut up now and let somebody else talk.
No, you're good. No, it's really, you're interesting, and you're a valuable resource. So I know folks are going to be eager to talk to you. All right, Lon. So you are, I know, Raccoons eating your peanut butter, but you're also talking about authenticity and having the right voice, audience engagement. What exactly is having an authority in writing? What does that mean, and how does that apply to bloggers?
I think in any kind of writing, you write about what you know, and you write about it as truthfully as you can, and you write about it. You write about it from your heart, and all the old maxims are right. That we learned in basic writing school, like show, don't tell, and those kind of things. And we had, when I was in MFA school, we had some of you may know the romance writer Joanne Mapson. She did Hank and Chloe and Blue Rodeo. She was one of my classmates. And we both got dogged through school about not being academic enough in our writing, and I thought that was the craziest thing I'd ever heard.
Huh.
Academic didn't mean anything to me. What it meant was really being able to tell my story and telling it in a way that connected with people. That means having fun. That means telling the truth. That means having the right to say what you say. So that means you've lived the experience, or you have enough experience with other people to be able to talk about what you write about. And ironically, coming out of MFA school, Joanne got 3 movie contracts within 2 months of coming out of MFA school.
Wow.
Here was the one who wasn't academic enough. And then and I won a National Endowment for the Arts Fellowship in writing, which opened a lot of doors to me later on academically. So, but I was writing about my personal experiences. I was writing about those things that meant everything to me in the way I thought I'd best connect with people, not how best connect with academics.
Sure. I think folks don't know that about you, Lon. In fact, I'm learning more today about you, because we're always talking on the fly or through 140 characters on Twitter. So, you have this whole wealth of knowledge, and you're such a valuable resource. So, if meeting you in Gander isn't enough incentive for your session, I think you just pretty much up the bar there. So, okay. So, speaking of a lot of knowledge, Lisa. Folks who may not know you, you served as Chief Creative Officer and Vice President of Programming for the Oprah Winfrey Network, producing 40 original series and documentaries in 2 years' time, serving as co-executive producer of the Oprah Winfrey Show. So you have this whole big background, and you're writing. So what I think what's a nice launch pad for folks to learn about is, how did you make that transition? Because all of us are sort of at that peak where we're doing one thing, but anybody listening to this probably wants to write a book, present company included. How did you make that transition? What sort of advice do you have?
Well, I just see myself really as a content creator, and I think if you have a good idea, you have to see where it fits best. And with this particular idea, A Letter to My Dog, which is how it started, it really felt like it was a book. And so that's how I ended up having a book. It really was kind of a stroke of luck for me, and that's just the truth. But that was the easy part. The hard part was actually making it work. And so I think, for anybody, for me, again, like, I've been creating television content for over 25 years, and I currently have a production company, a multimedia company, and we do television documentaries, digital content, and all types of things. So I think if you have a good idea that could work in a book, then you should try to get that published or self-published, which, as you know, is really an opportunity for people. And I know many, many authors who started by self-publishing, and then some of the bigger publishers pick them up down the road. And a lot of people have more success self-publishing today because you make more money. I mean, when you are under the guise of a big publisher, you get a smaller percentage, but you have better distribution.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That lends itself to the question I want to ask Amy. How, with your 30 plus best-selling books, pet books that are out there, and your fiction, which I'm a fan of, you're a valuable resource to the pet community. How hard is it to get published these days?
It's both harder and easier. It depends
Okay.
on the path that you're going to take. I started out, gosh, I'm an old cat. I started out before the internet, before email, writing for the pet press, Cat Fancy magazine, Dog World. Some of those magazines, they don't even exist anymore. You know, really kind of hurt my feelings that the 50th anniversary of Cat Fancy was their last issue.
Yeah.
Because I wrote a roundup for their 25th anniversary. So that tells you a little bit how long I've been doing this. And I got my first book contract because I wrote for Cat Fancy. A New York publisher saw my byline, liked the tone, and called me out of the blue.
Awesome.
I've got contracts by entering the Dog Writers Association America contest. I didn't win it, but the judge was an editor and called me, and this was for a cat book. I mean, I entered the dog contest, and I got a contract for the cat book. So there are all different opportunities, and today, with New York, it's much more difficult because they're very, very selective. They've always been selective. It's easier with self-publishing. You can do it yourself. You can have it, you know, push a button and have it published within 48 hours. But the key now is discoverability is the big kind of word that people are banding about because it's so easy to self-publish. Everybody does it, and a lot of people do it that should not do it, or at least not do it just yet. Just because you self-publish doesn't mean that you can write down the first draft, you know, cut and paste and load it up there. If you're self-publishing, you are a small business. You have to hire somebody to edit. You have to hire somebody to design your cover, to design the interior of the book if it's going to be a print version. Lots and lots of different things. And then, as you know, Carol, in social media, and you're such a pro at that, you have to be careful. That's about, you know, a lot of New York, they aren't doing it so much anymore, but at first they were saying an author had to start a blog, and then they had to be on social media, and these were things that were in the contract. They had to do this, and these poor authors were saying, but I just want to sit in my little room and write books. I don't want to have to do that.
Well, so bloggers then, they have a platform, and if they're
exactly,
known, you know,
bloggers
and it's kind
are already ahead of the game because they've already established that platform. Now, the thing is, if you have a blog and you have a book, you already have a built-in audience, so that's huge. That's absolutely huge. If you're starting out, you don't have a blog, you go on social media and you say, or go on Twitter, or you go on Pinterest or wherever else, and you say, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, and people shut you out.
Yeah,
so it's building relationships.
And it's a balance. It's really a balance. I think everybody on this panel would agree. There's a balance.
Right, and in the past with New York, I think there is a perception you do have a wider distribution, but New York, unless you were one of those A books, you know, the one of the front of the catalog books, you did not get a lot of publicity and push from the publisher. You were still expected to do that, so that hasn't really changed. You still, and today, if you have a blog with a lot of reach, that is going to be very attractive to New York publishers because you already have that platform.
Got it. And this is what I want to turn to Lon about. Lon, Tom Collins is saying that with a traditional publisher, you might get more distribution channels, but what about marketing to get your book noticed in the first place? I don't know if folks know this. Gander was a AKC Award for Canine Excellence recipient. You have over 400,000 Facebook followers. You're on TV, you're traveling, you're well known, and you're also an author. So what about getting that book noticed in the first place? What advice do you have there?
For us, it was, you know, we actually polled our audience and we asked, you know, what kind of things would you want to see? And we got back the response that kind of a chicken soup for the dog lover soul. And so that's why we put together In Dogs We Trust, which was a collection of a lot of best-selling authors in there. We had Patricia McConnell, we had the guy who trains dogs for the SEALs and other things. So, and we started pinging people. We asked them also to help with the title. we made it kind of almost a crowdsourced kind of event,
Right,
so that
right.
everybody in the blog had kind of a feel for what was going to happen, and they were invested in it. And so when the book came out, of course, then everybody wanted to have a copy of it, and that funds our travels around the country. But for us, it wasn't a profit-making venture, but it well could have been. And and we approached a couple of traditional publishers about things, and they said, well, anthologies don't typically do well. So we said, well, I'm not gonna push the river on this thing. Let's go ahead and just self-publish. And we did, and we bloodied our nose all along the way, but we figured out how to do it, and the book's been very successful.
Very good. And will you have copies at the BlogPaws Conference for folks? Okay, awesome.
Great. I didn't have paying my way down there. I mean, no.
Yeah, I think Gander just tapped you on the shoulder and said he's going to be available for signings too. Podograph.
We do have Gander does podograph each one. Yeah.
Oh, good. All right, buddy. We're going to hold you to that. Okay, so Robbie Hess, who's our blog manager, for each of you, does self-publishing have the stigma that it seemed to have in the past? Has that changed? And Lisa, I'll start with you.
I don't think that it has a stigma. I've been published by 2 different publishers, and if I let's say for my 4th book, if I decide to continue down this crazy road, if I couldn't get a publisher, I would definitely self-publish. I think there's a lot of benefits to it, and I don't think it is what it was in the past. I mean, now everybody's consuming books online, and ebooks are really the king, especially if it's not a photo book. So I don't think it really makes a difference. If you can get the distribution, then, if you can get enough people buying your book and you've got a good audience online, then I think you have a great shot. And you might make more money. It just depends.
So to that end, we have one of our listeners, William Rock, saying, do you have any tips for someone who wants to self-publish on Amazon? Do you have any familiarity with that, Lisa?
I really don't. I know people who've done it, and they've done it very, very well. And I think really what Amy was saying before, it's all about having an audience and doing really everything you can do to promote it. And I'm sure, Lonnie, though you do have Gander, so you have a leg up on everybody, but the process of promoting a book is not easy, and it doesn't really matter if you have a traditional publisher or if you're self-publishing. It's still the same game at the end of the day. You have to get as much press as you can, and you have to go out there and really hit the road. And I think that and I think it's probably the same for every author, no matter how big or small they are. I mean, it's really hard work, and much harder than I ever would have thought, but it really is really rewarding.
Awesome. Amy, so that lends itself to this question for you then. Bloggers, should I write about the same thing in my book that I'm blogging about, or how do I know if I'm saturating the marketplace by just saying the same thing over and over? How do I even know what my readers crave, and who are those readers? What do you have to say about that?
Okay, well, a couple of different things. If you're writing nonfiction, if you were writing whatever your blog is about, you were passionate about that blog, you already have the material there. Why reinvent the wheel? I mean, I plagiarize myself daily. I mean, why? You just pull out what you've already written. I mean, how many ways can you write about fleas and ticks? You have to, reinvent how you present it. But if you've already got that material, just look at what you have, and it's going to fall into certain categories. Most bloggers have different categories, so those could easily be chapters or sections of a book. If you're writing fiction, it may lead itself that way. When I started writing my series, and I have a suspense series with an animal behaviorist as the lead character and her service dog. And the dog has viewpoint chapters. I mean, the dog actually, he doesn't talk like a human. He's not a human with fur. He actually has his own chapters. And I tell people, I wrote the book I wanted to read. I had never seen this book. And that's, if you write the book you want to read that's not out there, your passion will translate to your audience. And if you already have a blogging audience on a particular subject, share a little bit in the blog about your publishing journey. I do a thing, and I'm getting ready to do that very shortly. I do a name that dog and name that cat character in my fiction. So my blog readers get a chance to submit ideas and tell about maybe it's their dog and what one of the winners last time, actually, she had a service dog, and the dog liked to steal laundry from around the house. And so I made that a part of the character.
So you're
So
bringing
you
your
can do
readers
that and
into your book.
engage, like what Lon was saying. Yeah, you engage your audience and have them be a part of it. I was fortunate. I was an editor on Chicken Soup for the Cat Lover's Soul and Chicken Soup for the Dog Lover's Soul. And as Lon said, those books are just designed to have the contributors help sell it.
Yeah.
I mean, you discount the book to the people who contribute. You let them make a little money on it and do fundraisers for the charity of their choice. There's different ways that you can kind of crowdfund or help crowd publicize your book. So, I mean,
Awesome.
there's different ways to do it. But listen, ask your audience. As Lon said, it's not rocket science. Do a blog post and say, you know, I'm thinking about writing a book, and I have these ideas, and maybe do a poll and say, I've got these 3 different ideas. Which one do you think? Which one maybe would you want to read? Which one would you give as a gift?
Right. Right.
You know, that, and maybe do a series. So yeah, I think listen to the audience, because that's going to set you apart from all that noise that's out there in the crowd.
Got it. Well, we have about 3 minutes left, and what I want to do is go around to each. I know it goes too fast because we all have so many things we want to say. I want to talk about what each of your pet projects are, and then if you could re-identify what your session is at BlogPaws, that would be great so that folks know. So let's start with Lisa. What are you working on? What's your pet project?
Well, really, my main focus right now is obviously a letter to my mom, because it just came out. So we're, out there actively pushing that book, and we're super excited about it. And we're trying to decide what our next title is going to be. So we're, it might be a letter to my baby, it might be a letter to my dad. We haven't really decided, but that's really where we are right now.
Okay, fantastic. And you are on a panel, and it's with the Cat Writers Association, Publish Your Perish.
Yes, exactly.
Very good. All right, let's volley over to Lon then. And what are you working on? What's going on with your pet projects? And remind folks the name of your session, Lon.
Yeah, the name of the session is Raccoons Stole My Peanut Butter, and Authenticity and Authority in Creating Audience Engagement. It's a long title, but it's a lot more fun than it sounds, too. So right now we're working on, as we travel around the country, we've got about 7 states in the next 6 weeks. And as we go along, we're interviewing people and doing stories with folks that we run into. And the name of the next book is called Fetch, Travels with Gander. And,
I love it.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
And we're calling what we do, these acts of kindness that we do along the road, we're calling Gander's Pack. And so we'll also chronicle some of the packs that we do, some of the things we do for veterans and people with service dogs along the way. We're having a lot of fun.
That's fantastic. Looking forward to seeing you both. And then Amy, let's round out with you. What do you got going on right now, my friend?
Oh, so much. We're in the process of promoting I co-wrote a musical with my friend Frank Steele, Strays, the musical that was produced last fall, where all of the characters are cats and dogs and tell their story, how they lost their homes, and hopefully then find homes at the end. And so that was produced last fall, and we are getting inquiries about other people wanting to produce that show now. So that's exciting. And I'm also at deadline on the 3rd book in my suspense series. So I'm working on show and tell, and trying like crazy to get this thing done before every weekend in May. I'm gone at different writers' conferences and events, and rounding up the month of May at BlogPaws. So it's going to be fun, and talk a little bit about that in the Publish Your Perish Thursday presentation there at BlogPaws with the Cat Writers Association. There's 2 different panels there from Cat Writers Association, so you'll wanna hang out for both.
And you don't need to be a blogger to attend them. You could be someone who's just interested in writing. You want to learn more. And, yeah, that's the misconception. I think some folks think they've got to be this grandiose blogger who has this huge following, and then they can come in and consider publishing, and not the case.
Well, and actually, Bob Mayer, who will be there as a publisher, may be interested in talking with some people about possible projects. One of their best-selling books was a compilation of a writer who her blog was so successful, she compiled that into a full book on how to use social media, and it's been a bestseller.
Fantastic.
So you may be interested in talking to people.
And how to find you, Amy? I want to go around one more time and give a website and a handle on how folks can find you. So you start out, please.
Well, Shojai.com is my website, and I blog at Bling Bitches and Blood over at AmyShojai.com.
Very cool. And how about you, Lisa? How can folks get in touch with you, and where should they land on the internet?
A letter to my dog.com, a letter to my cat.com, and a letter to my mom.com.
Okay, and that'll give them information on if they wanted to contact you and so forth.
Contact information, and then all of our handles, Twitter, Facebook, all the same. They're all the same. A letter to my dog, cat, mom. Yeah.
Okay, Gander, tell your dad to let us know how to contact him, please.
We're on veterantraveler.com, or if you just Google Veteran Traveler, or if you go to Gander's page on Facebook, just Gander Service Dog. And the new blog is going to be Operation Fetch.
Okay.
And, great. So yeah, come by. We're having fun.
Absolutely. And if anybody wants to find me, I live at my computer these days because we're 30 some odd days out from BlogPaws, and as a collective combined staff, I think we're getting 8 hours sleep as a staff these days. So we're looking forward to seeing you all. I'm certainly looking forward to reconnecting, and I know you have close to 500 people coming to the conference who will absolutely want to learn from you. So all right, this has been an awesome hangout. Thank you, Robbie and Tom, behind the scenes, for helping us out today. Thank you three for coming, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in Nashville in May.
Bring the bling.
All right.